fellow loomers. So I'm here today with this cute little a top for toddlers, and this sample is for a 2-year-old one. And I'm going to share in this video the different steps how we go about knitting this cute little garment. If you have downloaded my pattern, keep that in front of you. So let me introduce the different parts of this garment. It starts from cast on and a hemline, which is like an inch to maximum 2 inches, and we choose a stitch pattern which lies flat. This is my rib stitch pattern, and you can use seed or you can use garter stitch. Then there is the main body of the garment. Right now, what I have in front of me is a textured stitch pattern. I'm going to demonstrate it ahead, and the back side is all in stockinette. You might choose to, since the measurement of both front and back panel is same, you might choose to begin with knitting this a hemline and body with plain stockinette, and then knit 2 panel exactly the same and stitch them together. Or you will use this textured pattern. And then there is the third part of this knit is shaping the armhole, the left and the right simultaneously. And then there is this neckline. You can see that there is a nice neat scoop. Took me some time and many of these tops to learn to do it neatly. So this video I am going to knit this entire thing with this yarn. It is Naco lollipop yarn. It's very lightweight worsted, very light worsted. You know, there are different weights of worsted. You can use any number 3 or 4 Caron Simply Soft, because it is a garment. It should need to be soft for the baby. And this is Naco lollipop yarn, and I am using my 44 peg Sinwood 716 gauge loom, and I have started casting on. My cast on is E-wrap and purl. E-wrap, that 1 row of E-wrap and 1 row of purl. That is all required for a tight cast on, and we hold our working yarn tightly. Knitting the border or hemline, it is simply 2 rows and 4 stitch pattern. It's 2 purl, 2 E-wrap. This is row 1, and row 2 is unit, right? This is how the first row looks like. There is 2 E-wrap and 2 purl. I'll do the second. I'm knitting the second row now. Second row is unit, and I'll knit them as I come back. So we'll repeat this at least 6 times to get 1 inch of. The hem is complete now. It is a little more than an inch from the cast on. And now I'll start the textured pattern. The pattern is a very simple 2 rows, 5 rows and 2 stitch pattern. The first 2 rows are in units. I have been knitting them. So this is my second row of unit, which I have just finished, and now I'll start the row 3, which is 1 knit and 1 purl. All the white pegs are, the tan pegs are purl, and all the pink ones are knit. That is an easy way for me. So I have knitted this the front panel of this top, and I've completed the 9 inches from the cast on edge. It is 9, right here. And now I will start decreasing for armhole. We will decrease for this portion of this part of the armhole. You can see a neat curve. Let's see how we do this curve. This armhole curve is knitted by decreasing stitches from each of the 2 ends. This is a flat knitting. So I have marked 7 pegs from left side and 7 pegs from right side of the loom, and these will be decreased. The first 2 rows would be 2 pegs decreased by 2 pegs here. This is how we bind off. Bind off is the method of decreasing for armhole. And the second one, wrap it, bring it to the last peg, knit it, and then replace back. This forms the chain. So 2 decreased, and then we will continue with the pattern. That is, I have actually already was on the second row, so I'll do the 2, I'll knit the 2 unit rows, and when I reach the other end I will stop when 2 pegs remains and bind them off. The first 2 rows we will bind off 2 pegs each, and then on each side 4 pegs would remain, and we will then decrease 1 in every row for the next 4 rows. When you download the pattern, all these entire maths is given there, and you can follow that. The number of decrease oftentimes changes with the size of the top. This is for a 1 year or 18-month-old it's for the 2-year-old kid, and this is the number of pegs we will decrease, that is 7 on each side. Okay, knit this, it was from the previous row, so the 2 rows remains. We'll e-wrap this, bring it to the last peg, knit it, and put it back. 1 row, and then second decrease. So now you see there are 2 pegs decreased, 2 stitches decreased from each side of the loom or each side of the fabric for the 2 armhole. I'll continue knitting like this, but then you'll knit, don't do all in knit. It is the textured pattern. Alternatively, you can actually do knit all units as well. That will give it will appear like a pattern in the up and makes the upper part of the garment. But this is a simple stitch, so I am going to follow the pattern. So here I have come back to, and I'll reduce 2 more stitches. Here. Here. Now it is 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches are and I'll start working on the pattern, which is 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, and 1 knit, and similarly decrease 2 pegs from this side. Let me finish it, and we will decrease 1 stitch every row. So here I am reducing the 5th peg or 5th stitch of this row, and then continue with the pattern. Yeah, it is now 2 rows of units. So this, I'll continue working and reduce each of these stitches one by one, decrease until 7 are decreased on each side. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. I'll knit back and forth following the pattern until the stitch mark. Here I have decreased the 7 pegs from each side finally, and this helps form the curved side of the armhole. See, it looks like this. Okay, this is like 2.5 to 3 inches curve. It forms this section of the garment, and now we have to knit from here to here, the rest of the shoulder until the depth which we want. So generally this part is the hemline is 12 inches, and I am aiming to make it 13 or 14 inches in length. Let's see how big is this now. Since it's a garment, you have to keep measuring the length. It is now roughly 11 inches and a little more. So that means I have to knit at least 3 more inches for the neckline and the shoulders. So before I start working on the neckline, I'm going to knit 4 more rows of the pattern. That is one entire repeat before starting to decrease or knit the rest of. Now I'm dividing this the remaining 30 stitches for forming the shoulder strap, the shoulder flap, and the neckline. So we'll mark 9 pegs from each side of the loom. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, I've marked 9 and 9 from the other side. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Right, and now this leaves how many? 12 stitches, pegs. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. So this 12 will form neckline, and these 9 stitches on either side or each side of the neckline forms the shoulder, this portion, and the 12 stitches will form this portion. Let's see how we do that. And we have to attach another piece of all right, so we are here. Let's knit it through. We'll knit and stop before the 9 pegs marked for the right shoulder. I have started from the left shoulder. I'll continue knitting the pegs I've marked for the neckline. No decrease or bind off now. And here I'm going to stop here. This is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and bring in another ball of yarn. And so we have now 2 balls of yarn. This one is a tad small. I have this one and I have this one, and I'll be knitting both the shoulders together. And this is very important. Neckline is a little tricky. So, okay, I am attaching this. So this slip stitch I'm going to knit and put it at the second last stitch instead of putting here, because if I put here it makes a loose stitch on the edge, which doesn't look good. Okay, and now here I'll knit the 9 pegs and start binding off the neckline. Okay, 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, but not bind off the whole thing. Okay, we have to bind off, but in a very different way. So we have now this portion is very much like how we do sock, make the socks heels and toes, something like that. So we have 12. I'm going to bind only the 6 middle. So I'll leave 3 on each side. 1 2 3, and let me put a marker here. I'll put a marker here, and it's 1 2 3, and then put a marker on this side. 1 2 3. Now I have how many? 1 2 3 4 5 6 stitches. I'm going to bind 6 stitch first. Okay, so 6 stitches for the shoulder flap, and this 3 stitches we'll bind them off one by one after binding off the 6 in a go. Sorry, I will bind off by